pinhole, her lungs frantically trying to pull in oxygen. The back of the cab now smelled like that closet had, mustiness and rot, as though something had died many summers ago in the walls. She thought of running, and that thought filled her with even more panic. She thought of her pills, her prescription benzodiazepines, that she rarely took anymore, but that she'd brought anyway, the way a child who doesn't need his blankie anymore still keeps it close at hand. But the pills were in her suitcase, which was in the bloody boot of the cab. She opened her dry mouth to say something to the cab driver, to ask him to pop the boot, but the words didn't come out. And that was the moment, one she'd had many times, when she became convinced that she really was dying. Panic attacks can't kill you. Of course they can't, she thought, and squeezed her eyes shut anyway, as though a train were barreling down on her. It was the worst thing to do. The world dissolved into a closet full of blackness, death choking her. Her insides began to liquefy. Face it, accept it, float with it, let time pass. The cab jolted forward a whole car length, then stopped again, and that small movement made her feel slightly better, as though saying the mantra had caused the car to move in the first place. She repeated it again, while doing her breathing exercises. The driver shook a hand, his fingers spread, and muttered something at the dirty windshield in a language Kate didn't understand. For some reason, she'd thought that cab drivers in America would be stereotypically American. Short men with caps and cigar stubs and loud American voices. But this cab driver was turbaned and heavily bearded. Except for the fact that he was sitting on the left side of the car, she might as well have been in London. How long is this tunnel? Kate managed to ask through the partition. Her voice sounded cracked and timid in her own ears. There's something up ahead. Is it always like this? Sometimes, the driver said, then shrugged. Kate gave up and moved back from the partition. She rubbed her hands along her thighs. The cab kept jerking forward, a few feet at a time. But after it passed the stalled Chevy, 2 lanes opened up, and the cab was moving again. Kate breathed in through her nose and out through her mouth. She unclenched a hand, and one of her knuckles cracked. She began to tap her thumb against her fingertips in ordered succession. The pinhole that was her throat opened up a little. They cleared the tunnel, and Kate caught a glimpse of swollen clouds dominating the sky just before the cab dipped and swayed into another tunnel, but one in which the traffic was barreling along. The cab driver made up for lost time before emerging onto another fast-moving road that wound along the Charles River. There was enough light left in the sky for Kate to make out the backsides of brick houses whipping past on her left. On the river, a rower on a scull skimmed along its placid surface. The driver took a sudden lurching left, doubling back to get onto a narrow road, square brick houses on either side, blossoming trees along the sidewalk. Bury Street, announced the driver. It's 101. Got it. The driver sped up, then slowed down and halted suddenly, one wheel riding up onto the sidewalk in front of a brick archway, surmounted by a small stone on which the number 101 was carved. Kate could see into a courtyard with a low fountain. The apartment building, 3 stories high, ran along 3 sides of the courtyard. Kate's stomach ached a little, a leftover from her earlier panic attack, and she thought guiltily of her second cousin, Corbin Dell, arriving at her unexceptional flat in North London earlier in the day. But he'd known what he was getting. They'd sent several emails back and forth. Her 1-bedroom was cozy and conveniently located near a tube station. But Corbin's place, she'd seen the pictures, was like something out of a Henry James novel. Still, she hadn't been prepared for the courtyard entrance, very Italian. It seemed out of place with the small amount of Boston she'd already seen. She waited on the curb while the driver